Hello there, thank you for staying with us and welcome to another edition of Channels Beam. I am Victor Matthias. Now, as the race to the 2023 elections begin, moves by politicians are getting more apparent by the day. Now, while governors of the southern region say they would resist any political party that fills a northerner as a presidential candidate in the 2023 general elections, northerners, on the other hand, have declared that nothing could stop any Nigerian from contesting the 2023 presidential election. On the program today, we will be looking at reactions that have trailed these statements and what it portrays for the political environment ahead of the general elections in 2023. And also, we will be looking at the issues surrounding the VAT collection in Nigeria. But joining us to look at the political issue is Zayed Ayuba Alaji. He is the national president of the Arewa Youth Consultative Council, and he joins us from our studios in Kano. It's a pleasure to have you on the program, Zayed. It's a pleasure to have you on the program again, Zayed. Well, let's just kickstart the conversation with you, Zayed. So much has been said. There's the banter back and forth. But what is your take? I mean, what would be your take as regards what happens, when the time for the election comes? All right, we seem to be having issues connecting to Zayed in our Kano studios, but of course, we always take you through the movie videos on our YouTube channel in the past week, so we usually do that at the end of the show, but today would kickstart with that and then come back to see what our guests have to say. Please stay with us.
The explanation by former governor of Anambra State, Peter Obi, as to why Nigerians are leaving the country kicks off this week's most viewed videos countdown in 5th place.
We need to be investing in the proper components for development in health, in education, and pulling people out of poverty. And that includes tangible and intangible assets.
It is followed in 4th place by the former Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu, preferring a solution to the quagmire between IPOB leader and the federal government.
But what I want to see is to reduce tension in the Southeast. What I want to see is that they make sure that the federal government understands the feeling of our people.
3rd spot is taken by the Rivers State Governor, Nyesom Wike, claiming that impunity is a cause of insecurity in the country.
What are those factors that have led to this insecurity? One of such factors, as far as I'm concerned, is impunity.
2nd is the latest political bride of the APC and former aviation minister confessing that he got it all wrong about President Buhari in the past.
Of a man that I believe would not listen to anybody else in the past, and I was quite wrong on that. His receptive ears, his reception, and those around him, particularly some of the governors, we've worked closely together. And I have seen that definitely this is a man that one can work with, providing you go through the right channels.
While topping the charts is the EFCC chairman slumping during a presentation at this year's National Identity Card Day held in Abuja.
I think I have to stop here.
Those were the most viewed videos on our YouTube channel in the past week, but we have again standing by from our Kano studios, Zayed Alaji. He is the national president of the Arewa Youth Consultative Coalition. Again, thanks for joining us on the program. All right, while we try to hold on with Zayed, let's quickly move to our studio, our guest who is joining us via Skype. We have with us Ayo Bankole. He is an expert in strategy as well as the convener of Lagos SME Boot Camp. It's a pleasure to have you on the program, Ayo.
Victor, it's good to be here.
Indeed. It's good to have you. So, I mean, pretty much we've seen the back and forth that has been going on, in terms of the collection of VAT. I mean, there's been court cases, and other states are also saying they are going to also follow suit, so to speak. But what exactly do you think is happening? And because from the look of things, it's not only about collection issues. There seems to be underlying issues surrounding all of this. But what's your own perspective on this?
Thank you. So I think that what's going on is, at the heart of what's going on is the justice behind the federal structure or the fairness or justice or equity behind the federal structure that Nigeria is. As I always say, that there are really no true federalism. There's nothing like true federalism in the context of the world. Federalism can vary as widely as how many nations, as many nations that practice federalism. And I've always argued that Nigeria has to negotiate its federal structure and adopt specific approaches or methodologies that work for it. Now, the way VAT is currently being administered in Nigeria was inherited from the military junta of General Ibrahim Babangida in 1993. He introduced VAT as it is, from the sales tax that existed before then. And as is the case with every military power or every military authority, the power to collect, that VAT was by default allocated to the federal government, even though it was not codified. But it was assumed that, since it's a military government, the center will be responsible, and then the proceeds will be shared amongst all the federating units. Now, the sharing formula is where the conversation now lies. Now, in the sharing formula, 50% of that sharing formula, 50% of whatever is derived goes to the 36 state governments, 15% goes to the federal government, and while 34% goes to all of the constituency units. And so, as it is, given that 50%, the bulk of the money already goes to the state government, so it is already by default a state benefited tax. However, what the problem is on the basis upon which that sharing is done. Only 20% of the basis upon which it is shared is based on contribution or derivation, while the remaining 80% is based on the principle of equity and population. So the conversation is, why should I be contributing the largest chunk and be receiving the smallest? So these are the conversations around it. At the heart of it is injustice, that states perceive to be the case. They believe that it is unfair for example, a Lagos state to contribute the largest chunk to contribute the largest chunk to VAT, while they are sharing on the same basis as, for example, an Osun state. So that's the conversation.
We've seen situations where these purchases are made, say, again, like in Lagos, and it's consumed in Yola or Osun, like you made mention of just now. But the tax returns are pretty much announced by their headquarters, I mean, wherever it might be. So don't we have issues as to how, we calculate the taxes, using this formula?
Okay, yes, you are right. And it's called the headquarter effect. That's a situation where organizations that have national coverage or national spread then file their taxes where their headquarters are located. And as you are aware, naturally Lagos State will benefit a huge chunk from this headquarter effect, because telcos, for example, who contribute majority who contribute the largest VAT, have nationwide spread. I mean, they have customers all over the country. However, they file taxes, most likely will file their taxes from their Lagos base. Now, in a case where, what the advantage with these conversations now is that either approach that is adopted, either the states begin to collect, or we visit the distribution, model. The most important thing is that the headquarter effect will have to be watered down. Because the same logic that the states are using to say, look, we cannot be contributing more and be receiving less, is the same logic that applies to the headquarter effect. Other states cannot be contributing to the VAT pool, and one or two states will be benefiting or would be receiving the accrual or the credit, will be taking the credit for such benefits. So if we redefine our VAT distribution model, then you have to also redefine the appropriation model for the VAT. So what this means is that if MTN, for example, or any of the telcos collect VATs, collect value-added tax, right, they would have to apportion the source, the location of such value-added taxes, and such contributions will be going to their states as against their headquarters.
All right, so let's even look at it now from the point of view of MSMEs. What would be the implication? Because as it is now, Lagos State is saying, they have even, signed that bill into law, and, they have their own percentage that, people would pay. I mean, what's the implication of this for small businesses?
Okay, so as it is today, small MSMEs already suffer a lot of, the ease of doing business is difficult. It's not easy doing business in Nigeria. You have to deal with multiple agencies for registration. You have to deal with, you have to deal with FX volatilities, a lot of things. Now, if this comes to bear, right, what would happen is that you would compound the ease of doing business for already frustrated MSMEs, because, and why do I say this? There are so many reasons. As of today, value-added tax is only one form of tax, which is a very complicated type of tax, right? And they deal only with VAT. Now, value-added tax requires input and output elements. And as of today, they deal with only FIRS. So it's easy to reconcile your inputs and to reconcile whatever refund that you need to do or whatever differences, because it's only one agency, right? Now, what would happen with MSMEs is that they would have to now start dealing with multiple taxation agencies, as many as 37, depending on how many reach or how many states you cover. They would also have to now register with FIRS, with LIRS, with OIRS, depending on how many states they have to go to Gongola and the likes, right? And then another biggest issue is that if I sell my products, if I produce my products in Gongola and I sell it in Lagos, right, I would have already paid inputs in Gongola, and then I'm coming to Lagos and I'm charging my output VAT, right? Now, the complicity here is at what rate? Because, the rates that the states are proposing differ. Lagos is proposing 6.5, Rivers is proposing 7.5. Now, at what rate do I net off the differences? How do we reconcile that, right? Which is why I'm proposing that, look, you can achieve the same result that you want to achieve, with balancing equitable distribution, if you simply say that, okay, FIRS can collect this VAT on our behalf, right? However, 100% net the 4% collection cost, right, should go back to the states that contribute those VATs. So if Lagos, for example, contributes 2 billion to the tax pool, right, deduct 4% cost and send back the remaining to Lagos, maybe 80% to the state, 20% to their local governments.
Local
right?
governments,
and then import-based VAT, or VAT that relates with foreign transactions can then be shared equally among the states.
All right. I mean, I believe this would be a continuing conversation. Hopefully, would get to a meeting point where everybody would agree on this, but you kind of actually cracked me up when you mentioned Gongola. But again, it's been a pleasure, having you share your thoughts on this very contentious issue, Ayodele. We'll take a quick break. I'll be back in a moment. Please stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. Now let's move back to the political issues. And we have joining us via telephone Adekoya Bola Dale. He is a writer and editor and currently the deputy managing editor of People's Gazette. It's a pleasure to have you on the program today. You're joining us via telephone from Nairobi.
To be here, Victor.
Indeed. Well, so there's been a back and forth, southern governors, northern political, bigwigs as to who becomes president in the year 2023. But what's your reaction to all of the back and forth that has been going on?
Yeah, I think basically it's part of the political process. This is the usual scrambles you have, of course, politicians. And, well, from all the discussions that have been going on, I'm yet to see those who are agitating for which region should become the president. None of them has actually been talking about the major issues that concern Nigerians. We have a lot of economical issues. We have insecurity. So it should be the focus of these politicians. But majorly, they've been concerned about who gets what and how, and that is really unfortunate.
So what would you be expecting? Like you said, the conversation seems to be taking a different turn. What can be done to turn the attention of those who are, seeking for these offices, to the right direction?
Yeah, well, I think expecting politicians to focus on issues is really going to be hard. I think what the electorate should be concerned about really is asking themselves what kind of leader do they want in 2023? And that is a conversation that we all really need to sit down and have. It is not the issue of which zone produces the president. It's not about the South. It's not about the North. Yes, it's an unwritten rule. Is more of a child of necessity that each region that makes up the federation should be given a sense of belonging, and they should have a kind of a rotation of power among them. However, the focus of the electorate should be on not even the political party this time around, but on the candidate. We've seen clearly how politicians move across parties. We know that there is no difference between the APC and the PDP. And so from all indication, I think the focus of the electorate should be clearly on what really do they want? What kind of leaders do they want? So our focus in 2023 should be about the character of the leaders. We made a mistake in 2015, and we repeated the same mistake in 2019 because we were taken by the euphoria of the movement, the euphoria of change, and we did not take time to really interrogate ourselves and look at the candidate themselves. And I think that is the problem. Remember in 2015, everybody was shouting the APC change, and there was a lot of singing and dancing across. But a lot of people, why just some silent voices were saying, see, yes, we understand the need to have a new government, but the Muhammadu Buhari that we knew as in the 60s and in the 70s, does not have the capacity to lead this country right. And of course, they were the silent, they were the little voices. A lot of them did not, we didn't hear them. And we've seen what took place afterwards. So I think in 2023, the conversation should shift far away from the zoning, far away from the political party, but not clearly about the personalities. If APC, if PDP, if they all come out with a better candidate, I think we should distill ourselves from the politics of partisanship and majorly focus on the individual and try to interrogate and investigate the capacity of those individuals that want to elect into office.
All right, let me just hold you there for a bit. A lot of people or some people might kind of disagree with you on what you called what happened in 2015, describing that as a mistake in 2019, and also, the capacity of the president to deliver on the promises he made, while campaigning. But let's again move to our Kano studio where we have Zayed. He is the president of the Arewa Youth Consultative Coalition. Again, it's a pleasure to have you on the program. Zayed, if you can hear me, it's a pleasure to have you on the program.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, please. Again, so pretty much was just going over, the reactions that have been trailing the back and forth by governors in the southern region, saying that, no political party should field any northern candidate. But in your own reaction, in your own take, in your own perspective, what do you think should be happening? Do you think political parties should have that as a ground rule for who contests in the coming election?
Actually, I'm having a very low audio, but I have gotten the question exactly. On the question of zoning in relation to the issue of presidency in Nigeria, the question of zoning is something that has to be looked at the position of power in Nigeria. Zoning can be looked at either from the nationalistic point of view or from the political point of view. If it is viewed from the nationalistic point of view, you will have to look at it from the angle of its legal framework, what is the base, and if it is from the angle of the political point of view, then you have to look at it from the angle of the possibility of having more unity, more security, more peace and understanding among Nigerians. Now, I want us to keep aside the issue of power and look at the essence and the base of power. Most of the Nigerians, anytime they talk about the issue of zoning, they talk from the angle of where they come from or their affiliation. As the national president of Arewa Youth Consultative Council, we have actually consulted thousands of youth all across Nigeria, especially in the 19 northern states, to understand their opinion in relation to the issue of zoning. And as patriotic Nigerians, we are of the opinion that it is not the power that is important, but the value of power. If you're talking about zoning, zoning always try to see how does it shift power from one region to the other region, even though they call it a gentleman's agreement. And in today's political arena, the politicians tend to forget about that gentleman agreement. But as youth, we should always pay more attention to the issues of Nigeria's unity. Because without unity, there will not be progress. And without progress, then democracy has failed. It does not matter where power resides in Nigeria, whether in the south, whether in the north, and mark you, these 6 geopolitical zones of Nigeria, each of them want to produce a president. And painfully, there's only one president, and there must always be only one president. As such, we are of the opinion that instead of us to continue clamoring that the president should come either from the north or from the south, or he should be of this religion, or he should be of this creed, we should pay more attention, especially as youth, to the issue of his competence. What can he do? What did he know? What is his capability and capacity when it comes to the issue of solving the economic crisis of Nigeria? What can he do about the dying industry of Nigeria? How can he unite the various sections of Nigeria that continue to feel and think otherwise about their counterparts? These are some of the questions we need to talk about. We at the Arewa Youth Consultative Council, which we believe we are the largest youth network in the 19 northern states of Nigeria, having network even at the lowest grassroots, we have already consulted thousands of our youth, just like I've just earlier mentioned. Yeah. And that we are ready to continue consulting one another to be able to convince ourselves that 2023, 2027, 2031, 2035 and above will not be an issue of regionalization. All right, It is not going to be about an issue.
I mean, let's just first of all work with 2023. Of course, other years will follow suit as well. But it seems what you and Bola Dale have, in consensus is the fact that capacity should be looked at more than region, religion, creed, or any of this. I'll have to say thank you to you for joining us on the program today. Zaid Ayuba, the National President of the Arewa Youth Consultative Council, as well as Bola Dale Adekoya, who joined us via phone from Nairobi. Thank you, both of you, for joining us on the program, and that's where we wrap it up today on the show. Thank you for watching. I'm Victor Matthias.